Hey guys, I'm Jordan and you're watching Fixbook. After watching this video, your car problems stand about as much a chance as this laptop does against my hot lead. Now, make sure you stay tuned so you can see what happened to the laptop at the end of this video. And as always, don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below. So today I'm going to be showing you how to address the following problems and potentially fix your problem when you have these OBD2 check engine light codes come on, the P0400, 401, 402. Okay guys, and for today's project I use the following tools, and you'll probably need the same. I got a 3/8 ratchet with a 10mm socket, 12mm socket, 2 extensions. You'll probably be just fine with one. I also used a pick, a good pair of pliers. You'll want a nice clean rag, and you'll also want carb cleaner or brake cleaner, can work as a substitute. And I also found it pretty useful to have this magnet right here as well. So we're going to clean out that Egr valve passageway, and we're going to see if that doesn't fix our problem. So join me now as we venture to under the hood. Alright guys, and the next thing we'll do is go ahead and pop the hood and get them propped up there so we can take a look underneath and see what we've got going on here. Alright guys, now I'm about to show you how to clean the Egr passageways for the 03 to 05 Honda Civic Hybrid, and I will have a video specifically for the older non-hybrid Civics to show you how to clean the Egr passageways and the older one looking like this. But for this particular video, I'm splitting the two videos into two. So for this particular one, it will be showing you how to do it for the newer hybrid one. So with all that said, let's go ahead and begin this project. Alright guys, the first thing we want to do is go ahead and get all this junk out of our way, and we're going to do that by kind of just pulling up on this guy, and we'll just set this guy off to the side. Next, we need to remove these two 10mm bolts here that are holding this cover on, and also that silencer for your air intake system. So here I'm just going to go ahead and remove these two bolts here. And I also want to just kind of warn you here, give you a little disclaimer before you begin this project yourself. Whenever you remove like an Egr valve or a plate that's going to be sealing things, you do run the risk of tearing up the gasket or the seal that's in there. So just keep in mind, if you do this project, like you remove your Egr valve or the plate that I'll show you how to remove here, you may need a new gasket or seal. For my particular application, I'm just going to be real careful in what I do, and I'm going to pause here in my conversation. You want to come over here, and we're just going to grab this guy and pull this hose off here, and then we're going to grab this whole piece and just kind of pull up and just kind of rock them back and forth while we pull up, and there we go. These two guys right here are connected to two rubber bushing type things down there. It kind of holds it in. So we'll take this piece and set them off to the side, and now we can really see everything we need to get to. But like I was saying there, just take note, make sure you know you do run the risk of needing to replace the gaskets or seals there. I particularly am going to be really careful not to damage the gaskets or seals, so we can just put that stuff right back together without a problem. Alright, so now we can see both of our potential problematic areas. This is going to be one of our problematic areas. This has two passageways in here. We're going to have a exhaust passageway and a gas passageway or intake passageway. Then we've also got this Egr valve, and we're going to remove the valve, the Egr valve. I'll begin by just removing this connector and setting him off to the side, and we'll also need to begin by just removing this hose. So I'm going to squeeze this clamp right here, and I'm just going to kind of pull this guy out of the way right here. If it gives you any trouble, you can be really careful with your pair of pliers and just grab onto the hose and kind of rock back and forth. They tend to kind of get stuck on there, and when you break that seal they have on there, it'll come off much easier. Now I'm just going to set this hose off to the side, and we'll begin. The first thing we'll do is take this plate off, and what I'll do is I'll take my extension and 10mm socket along with my ratchet, and we're gonna begin by undoing all these bolts here. Now, mine, I've already taken this off, and so it's not gonna do the same thing as when you take it off. But when you first take it off, you're gonna pull, and it'll break loose, and it'll probably make this little snap sound. So you'll pull, and it'll go. I'll make this little snap sound. That's just kind of breaking the strong seal it has on there. So basically, we'll just go ahead here and, like I always do, I just take my socket and extension so I can run these bolts off here really quick because I use it as a screwdriver. And this guy, I remember when I first took him off, it wanted to twist this piece right here, and you have a connector here, so just be careful it doesn't swing this guy and kind of damage anything, so you can just kind of hold right here on this bracket while you spin on it there. Now once we've got those two out, we'll kind of set this guy off to the side here. If you really want to, we can go ahead and unplug that connector and move him out of the way. I'm not that concerned about it. I'm just gonna leave him right there and finish taking the rest of my bolts out. Now we have a total of 5 bolts coming out here. The one, actually I'm sorry, it's six bolts. This one right here is gonna be really skinny, so not skinny, it's gonna be short. It's gonna be shorter than the rest, so just remember that. The ground bolt, the one I just dropped into the impossible place to get, that one is going to be the shorter one, and it's going to be the ground one right here, so just keep that in mind. And I'm going to set all my bolts over there right on that little plastic piece towards the front of the engine that your windshield wipers are adjacent to. I like to put bolts there. It's a good place to keep them, and I'm not sure, I don't think the camera is seeing that place which I spoke of there. And looks like I forgot to loosen this one. And so here we go. Now we're going to be able to remove this plate once I get this last bolt off. And I'll set him over there. Now I'm just going to hold this guy out of my way, and I'm going to set this ground piece up here also out of my way. And I'm just going to be really super careful. Oh, there we go, and we see we have that pretty gasket right there. Okay guys, now to clean this thing off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you right over here to the ground, and so I'm going to make sure I'm positioned correctly here. Basically what you'll do is just take some carb cleaner. I'm using brake cleaners, that's just what I got. They're basically the same thing really, but carb cleaner will do a better job. But I'm just going to take something like this right here. I'm just going to clean in there real well, and I'm going to go ahead and take a nice clean rag and just kind of really clean this guy out here real well. And then I'll take a pick I got right here. I'll just kind of scrape on there, and we'll be removing anything that's kind of stuck on there really well. So you can use a pick to do that, and then again we'll just kind of wipe this guy off and wipe all that debris that we got off there. I can see there's stuff falling out when I'm doing it like that as well. And then when we go to clean the piece that's actually sitting down in the engine, what we will want to do is we'll go ahead and spray down the rag here, and we'll just wipe it down with the rag, and we'll also use the pick as well, and we'll use that kind of method because we don't want brake fluid or carb cleaner kind of going up in through our Egr valve. You just don't want to mess up an expensive piece like that by doing something like that. So now we'll take a look under the hood once again. Okay guys, now here I'm at the piece that's actually sitting down in the car, so I'll just take some brake cleaner here, and in your case you want to use carb cleaner really, and I'm just going to be really careful not to hurt this gasket here. First I'm going to kind of blow the debris off, and guys, that really doesn't even look too bad. What you'll be looking for is if these holes are really just kind of blocked up and stopped up with this carbon buildup. Just go like that right there, and just kind of work around right here. Oh, and I've displaced the gasket, but we should still be fine there. So I'm just going to go ahead and wipe away with what I've done there, and just blow out really well. And that's pretty much all we're going to do right there. Next we'll look over here at our Egr valve, and I'll show you what we're going to do in that arena. Alright, so here we are now. We're looking at taking off this Egr valve here. So now we're looking at this Egr housing here where the Egr valve is sitting. Also, we'll take note of the Egr itself. Now, again, this looks really clean. I would be expecting to see buildup all around here to actually block the pathway there. That's what we'd find for the P0400 and P0401. That's the more common thing, is just these blocked passageways, and we're not finding that here. But if you are finding that here, then again, you'll take a pick like this and you'll just kind of scrape all this stuff down. You'll take the brake cleaner and the rag with the brake cleaner on, and you just wipe all that stuff out and get all that crud out. So the EGR valve has the passageways which are clear, so it can pull that EGR gas and put it back into the intake. So we're just going to want to make sure these passageways are clear, which in my particular case they are clear. So next I'll show you me putting everything back together and we'll be done with the project.